could use a smaller warehouse and fridge in St. Thomas. So when we need stuff over there, we just ship it just in time. As a precautionary, because right now in St. Thomas there's really no space. There's nothing that we have, and we're still trying to acquire the Island Block space. You know where Island Block is behind? It's right across from GRS behind Petros Plaza.
Yes.
We're trying to acquire that. I think we're going to be one of those administrations of the largest accumulation of assets for the government of the Virgin Islands. We're buying considerable amounts of land and assets as we move forward with this recovery. But I mean, I wanted to, there's always so much going on. Yesterday, when people walk up to me in the street, they say, "Congratulations." And I always ask them for what, because there's so many things happening all at the same time. So Monday, we got a new Attorney General, Gordon Ray.
We're going to talk a little bit about that.
In the morning, I declared the state of emergency for WAPA, which I came over here.
That was Monday morning or yesterday morning?
It was Monday, Monday. Today's Wednesday, right?
Correct.
Then yesterday we came over here and we cut the ribbon on the microgrid at the educational complex. We did that yesterday.
That's the generator?
It is actually a solar grid,
the solar
generator, and battery system.
And that's a shelter thing as well for storms, right?
So that's the first of its kind in the Virgin Islands for the government. We've never done a project like that for us. About $1 million, and it should cut about $10,000 off the bill for the department. So it's like so much, and I tell you about the stuff we're doing tonight with the Second Chance Month. We're doing some great stuff with rehabilitation. Got some people working and doing just an awesome job in and after. We cut the ribbon on the tiny houses at the correction bureaus, temporary housing for people who are homeless or who are transitioning from prison back into mainstream. And it makes me laugh when we have press conferences like yesterday in the legislature. I know you're a former senator, but I'm gonna have to beat up on them a little bit this morning.
I can defend them, so I just let you know. I mean,
all
the loyalty. I don't know. I don't know the details of the what going on, but I go defend them. So
I know you have to, and I like it when you defend them because it just makes the situation seem more foolish. When we declared, and I like people to get the nomenclature right because
ooh.
Yeah, we went to same school.
You know, full flight early in the conversation.
Yeah, because
nomenclature. Ooh, because I like it. This. Yeah, go right ahead, man.
Words are important.
Yes.
We declared a state of emergency for energy, and I was very specific in instructing my team to do that because when you have a situation,
let me set this up. Right before we get to the details of the fisticuffs, right? What were you told by WAPA as it relates to their exigency needs within the last 10 to 14 days?
Well, it's not up to WAPA to determine exigency. It's up to me. I didn't have.
No. I mean, WAPA established that they were in need
in December.
Okay.
WAPA, I want to make sure we're right because in December.
So this goes back 120 days.
Yeah, I talked to the board. I spoke to WAPA.
Go right into the mic.
And what's the name of the new board member? Not Moya, Maurice. We have another board member we just appointed to. Very brilliant Virgin Islander. And Kyle came to me and they said, "Governor, we don't need any more money. If you just pay what the government owes, we would be okay." That was December. I called the legislature in and spoke to them and told them there are a number of things going on here.
Selwood Jr.?
Selwood.
Lionel Selwood Jr.?
Lionel. Yeah. Thank you. There's a number of things going on.
You need a researcher in government, man?
There's a number of things going on here in the Virgin Islands. First, we got cash shortage because we're just waiting for a payday, and we paid some bills. And we got some stuff catching up for us from prior years.
So this is December?
December.
Okay.
I said, you could do a number of things. You can, number one, we have some money there that I put aside because of the Epstein cases that's sitting there. You could allow me to borrow that, and I'll put it back. You can allow me to borrow from the rainy day fund, which this administration established for the first time. I heard that Fred Gregory saying the legislature established the rainy day fund. I put the money in there. No, this is the only administration that ever had a rainy day fund. We established it.
Established or funded?
Funded.
That's
Because the
what
legislature establishes it.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah, man. Yeah.
we funded it. And then we could take the money from that. Because you remember, we still have money in the insurance guarantee fund too that we don't trouble anymore. We leave there. Plus, we had, so there was about 16 million in there for this rainy day fund. So you could extend our line of credit and allow us to use it for short-term cash flow problems, or you could just give us a new line of credit. So we could do some things.
And this is to address payments to Vital.
Right. No. This wasn't to address payments to Vital. You mean the cash flow? The cash flow we have now?
Yeah.
No. That's part of it. The cash flow, we have $100 million.
No. Let me rephrase that. The issue right now, as told to you by Selwood or Fleming in December, was what? What was the priority?
It was just cash flow.
Cash flow.
They had the same problem we had. Okay. We were a part of that.
They had a cash flow problem.
Right. But we were a part of that problem too. But because of our cash flow problems.
And the government was negligent
right
to them. And we had some cash flow issues as well.
Right. Okay. So I said to them, if you give me this line of credit, I could pay out the vendors before Christmas. If you want, we could pay up $20 million worth of tax returns, right? And pay WAPA. Don't even pay my section. Just pay the hospital and waste management, which was like $14 million.
Pay what they owe to the authority.
Right. What the government of the Virgin Islands owes to the authority. Long discussion, plenty of options. I said, hey, I'm giving you all these things. Go ahead and pick what you want. Because if I sent down something, it would have been a fight, right? They went down there, what do you call the thing? Preemption. The one preempt the other one. This one can't do it. And so all the legislation is stuck because of their own archaic system. If I get to legal counsel first, nobody else could move this piece of legislation, this idea, this not. December, January, they had a hearing. They blazed down WAPA. WAPA this, WAPA that. They blazed down the government of the Jennifer went down to Director O'Neill. They had her up too. Nothing happened. I wish I had a 60 minutes clock now.
Well, something.
January, February, March, April. Yeah. Now, all this time, because we're not paying the WAPA bill, you're incurring damage at WAPA because if they have no money, they can't bring in the stuff that they need to move other things that they have on the board forward. So, no cash flow caused problems with Wardsilla. It didn't affect the VTOL, which we are almost at the end of. It's caused problem with the Agrecos.
Yeah.
It's caused problems with 7Cs. It's caused problem with the vendors that we owe. Time flying, nothing's happening. And then one of them have the nerve to come and say, well, now it's April 15th, you don't have any problems. The one thing I like to explain to people, and you can agree to this because it's just factual. I cannot pay a bill unless I have authorization to pay it from the legislature. All I asked them to do...
Budgeted authorization.
Budgeted authorization.
Yeah.
I didn't ask them to find the money. I knew where the money was. All I asked them to do... And this is the thing about what really irritates me, and I was trying to be nice on Tuesday, right? We don't have problems to the level we had in 2009 and 10 because then we didn't have any money. When you were in the legislature, we were broke. So the question never used to be, can I get authorization to spend $15 million? It used to be, where are we going to find money for $15 million to pay a light bill that we owe. We when I was on fast forward now, the power rotating in St. Croix. I'm like, why? Let me go back. So WAPA said, we're not getting this money, so we can't buy fuel, and we're buying less and less fuel. So we have to count on just-in-time fuel in order not to let the islands go dark. Because we don't have any money to buy more than we need. It's like, remember when you were in college, you had $1.35 gas? Remember that? You had $1. I didn't even know you were going to buy gas in pennies.
We go get to where we going and come back.
Yeah, $1.37. So they said they're going to start this weekend in St. Thomas because of weather. But really, it was weather because the fuel barge had problems with the
Director Fleming mentioned that Friday on the power hour.
But at the same time, if they had the money, they would have had enough gas, fuel, diesel to allow that to pass. Because you would have had storage. If they miss a day or two, ain't no problem. We're going into hurricane season in a little while, and in this situation. So anyway, I said, okay. And then they said St. Croix going to have it because of fuel too. I'm like, okay. Monday, now, the power rotating in St. Croix. I heard St. Thomas maybe had one power outage. They got the fuel in. The power rotating in St. Croix. So I kind of like, why is the power rotating in St. Croix? They didn't pay the bill to Agreco. Agreco owns 20 megawatts of generating power in St. Croix. So I call Agreco. I say, hey, what's the deal? He said, John, pay your bill. I can't do it anymore. I have a boss just like everybody have a boss. I said, look, boss, I know we owe you the money. I'm going to make sure you get paid by Tuesday. Yesterday. Called up Senator Francis. Now, on Tuesday, right, I could have easily gone and said, call them into a special session and say, listen, authorize me to pay the hospital bill and waste management bill. Didn't do that. Once again, collaborative. Let's get the legislature president in there. Call Neville, Senator Francis, president. We talked. He thought it was a good idea.
Stop right there, because we're going to break. We'll pick up the discussion where you thought it was a good idea to reach out to the Senate president to have this conversation so we could have a joint resolution with respect to the issue. The governor's in the House, along with his press secretary, Mr. Richard Mota. If we're in America, we would have said Mata. You know what I'm saying? But it's Richard Mota Jr. We'll be back right after this. And we're back here and analyze this. And I want to make sure I ask my engineer. So, engineer, we live streaming, so people could go to the WTJX website right now and they can see the Dapper Dan, the governor, with the pink tie and all that stuff. Okay, that's good. So, hey, for those out here, right, who want to see the actual, by play, we're live. Even though radio. Is the joint. We got the governor in the house along with his press secretary, Mr. Richard Mota Jr. Governor, thank you very much for being here in Boston. So, you when we left, you were hoping for a level of communication from my branch, the first branch of government.
Right.
Okay.
Hey,
this was when right around when it was announced that they'd be rotating, or this was recent?
This is after. So this is last week Tuesday. Guy said, "Okay, you get the power on it." Call Senator Francis. Agreed to try to put them together. He says, "Look, I can't get them together until Thursday." And they said, "Well, I promised this guy gonna pay him on Tuesday."
When he said them, they're talking about the members of the legislature,
right?
35th.
And we had a meeting. I like to be transparent. And we had a meeting, or a subsequent meeting, where he brought in a couple other senators, and I wasn't sure what the meeting was for. So I was like, "What is this meeting for?" And of course, I set it off in a bad tune. But I am always irritated because, I try my best to include. And I recognize it's difficult in the legislature. Mm-hmm. You got to get 8 people to agree, but
or a majority of the quorum.
Or a majority of the quorum.
Yeah.
So in my thing is, I read, just like you. I don't listen to what people say, what attorney tell me. I read. I spend the whole night Sunday night reading the code, looking for where I may be at flaw in declaring this emergency. And the code says clearly, the governor of the Virgin Islands, whether threat of emergency or under emergency or disaster, may use all resources may declare an emergency, may declare martial law, and may use all available resources. It's right there in the code. It says it. I mean,
VA code or organic act?
It's in the code. It's in Title 23, Section 1105. Mm-hmm. Look it up. Mm-hmm. Just Google it, Virgin Islands. You can see the powers of the governor. In it, you know what's sad? When you listen to elected people misinform the public, they don't even understand itself what the code says. I mean, when you elect people, right, the least you're going to expect that they're going to read the code and understand what it says. Mm-hmm. And it says whether threat of emergency, the governor may invoke this. Now,
let me come here, because I will write down what we're dealing with here now, and it deals with 3 main variables, right? Governance,
right,
financial, and political. And I want to go to the political.
I love that.
No,
that's great. Governmental. That's
governance.
Perfect. Governance,
financial,
political.
Governance, you got to make decisions. Right. Financial, you got to pay your bills, and the political dynamic, which is how the process that puts yourself and the senators where they at now. Governor, this is my biggest gripe. I'm gonna talk to you. You gonna be sensitive to the fact that they got a contract call this year and you ain't got none, my brother?
They need to be sensitive to the fact that I know that. And that can make it very painful. And that's a plain political. I'm trying not to.
No, we're being candid here this morning.
No, we're being candid. Right. And I want the people of the Virgin Islands
non-gubernatorial
send me some people who have cojones.
Non-gubernatorial years.
I don't have another election to win.
Tilt. Oh, that's the next thing that you stated. You actually stated this right after you won, right? Yeah. But we gotta be sensitive to this reality, man.
I'm gonna say publicly,
right?
I'm gonna sink you. You know why? Not for me, not for politics, because this is why. COVID
can't do that, man.
COVID taught me, right?
2020.
COVID taught me, that you have to lead. You have to put
without a doubt
the good of the public above your personal ambition. Mm-hmm. You have to get to a point where you say, I'm going to lead. I'm going to do the right thing because the right thing to do. I mean, you know, this. And I'm really frustrated today, and I'm saying when I send something down to you and you tell me, oh, you're always pushing thing on us. You don't give us no time to navigate. You have a hearing. You tabled it. Whatever I send down, people check the record. You table it, and then you don't do anything for months. Meanwhile, the problem doesn't go away. So I said, you know what, Albert? You need to really see if you're collaborative. So let's collaborate.
But Governor,
So we call them in.
You yourself
Let me
just
finish,
said,
no, man.
I ain't got none to lose.
No. I'm telling you that. I said you call them in, right? You call them in and you send the problems and you give them the solutions. Ain't like I give them the problems.
I ain't denying that part. But here's what.
Take an action.
Without a doubt. Well, you know, I enjoy letting conviction be, you know, the most valuable characteristic for me when I was there. But it's not about me. Here is what I want to ask of you, right? You had a resounding re-election victory in 2022. And you did something. I didn't necessarily agree with it, you know, because it looked like you were trying to give yourself an out all you had. But you said, I'm a lame duck, right? And no, you were a re-elected duck. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not a duck at all. I've been corrected by the lieutenant governor who tells me all the time, stop saying that. You're not a lame duck. You're not a duck.
It's a political term, right?
Yeah.
Right. So at this point, right, what about Albert Bryan taking this posture? Governor Albert Bryan. Yo, I ain't running again. This is what I just taking your words on.
Yeah.
I ain't running again, right? So it would be in our best interest, but even more so, our best interest with a contract call in 2024 that we have the highest levels of communication to fix the problem, because you got to go facing the people them again, not me.
Exactly. Look, I even went, imagine this, right? And I love about speaking to you, like, you're a guru on several levels, gurufied. Now listen to this, right? Yeah. Imagine the legislature, the Democrats of the legislature now.
That's the next thing we ain't even gotten to there yet, because people want to know what going on.
Are getting together to fight against the governor, and think about it, for paying the WAPA bill that they owe. Here's the other insult to injury. Kenny Gittins, right, passed a piece of legislation that demanded that WAPA get a turnaround company, and we the government of the Virgin Islands do what it's
Senator Kenny.
Senator, sorry.
Yeah.
Right? And I was mad first, right? And then I went back and read it, and I was like, well, okay, Kenny, right, let's do this. We did the RFP. We were about to send because it wasn't funded. Mm-hmm. In the press conference, I said, listen, WAP, we're going to pay this, and WAPA is going to fund this out of their proceeds and get this research done. We're doing it. We're doing what you want. We're not being defiant.
I just think right now they know that they got petitions circulating. They got deadlines in May. And there's the human aspect is in play now with respect to the politics.
Don't mess with me. That's the first message. Here's the thing now that I'll ask you, right?
But you ain't got nothing to lose. So,
no.
So it wouldn't be in their best interest to get in a fight with somebody who ain't got no contract, huh?
I would think so.
That's a logical. That's a logical application.
But here it is here now, right? This is the thing that is the great equalizer, and I don't like threatening and stuff like this. But I'll ask you this: in my first term, didn't I stand firmly with WAPA, even though it was against my best interest?
I did that. So I appreciate that. I used to be on the radio defending Hugo them and saying, look, we blaming WAPA and people ignoring the reality. Think what you want about management. With the commodity that we use, we are importing it. And in some instances, it is being purchased from, at the time, Hovensa, who was open, and it should have been at a negotiated rate because it was being manufactured in our backyard, and we were getting screwed because they were using American law to jack up to keep the prices. When in Venezuela, 8 cents a gallon. Yeah. So I understand that part. But I want to give you credit for something that you told me early on, and this is October 2019. You said, Neville, I said, Governor, I want to talk to you. I went to meet with Arc Late. Blah blah blah. You said, come Government House on Sunday. So I want the public to know that this ain't just now. You dealing with this issue here, right? Governor, I don't even remember the conversation, But I told you I went to meet with Arclight. I was good with them at the
I
time.
remember that.
And you said back then, because I believe this is the genesis of the problem. Neville, if I had $100 million today, I'd buy us out of Vital. This is year one. Forlong number one in this 8 Forlong, this 8 Forlong race you there in as governor.
Yeah.
This is April 2024. So that would make it a full 4.5 years since when you told me this. And we still there in this predicament to the governor. That's the issue that I really believe is undermining all of us here, that we have this entity that got us caught up in this long-term agreement and it's killing us, man.
Well, I'm here to tell you that the sun is about to come out.
So tell me about it, man.
So I think
Public needs to know.
we've made enough. We had some things happen in the last week or two with HUD, and I think we see our way to the end of this. And getting out of that deal allows us a whole lot of other options that's going to bring down the cost of fuel. But like I said, Democrats, right? I tell the legislature, I make Democrats in the legislature all the time, all you have to do is brag about wins. All the things that's being done now are done by a Democratic majority in the legislature, a Democratic governor, and a Democratic delegate to Congress. We got a trifecta. But you are rallying against
using Hasri, you're saying terminology. So you don't even try to make me smile this bad, you know what I mean? By the way, I'm a listener. Good morning. Listening, it's not enough just to read the code. It must be read in context. For example, money appropriated for a particular purpose isn't available for another purpose.
That's not true. It says all available resources. So were you telling me? And
No. So you're saying that the section that you talked about, Title 22, is it? 1105, states that you have unilateral abilities.
I have the ability to suspend. You read it. Did the person read this part? It says the governor has the ability.
They were actually talking from a contextual perspective.
I ain't reading from the book. I'm telling you right now. I can read it off my phone. Yeah. It says the governor has the ability to suspend laws. Suspend laws. So when I listen to them,
you didn't know that you were this powerful until you read this thing on Sunday night?
No. I know all the time, but I don't like to. You think it's now people begging me to take over?
Also, you saying that you were trying to exhaust all
measures. I don't want to run WAPA. That's not my job. He gets paid way better than I do, but it's not my job. I don't know anything about power plants. I have to rely on my best consultants, advisors to make this. So when you see me make an action like this, I'm the guy that went through COVID and didn't put a curfew. I don't like being in other people's house. I wish the hospitals, waste management, port authority, everybody would run without me interfering at all. That's the reason why they're set up. They're set up as semi-autonomous agencies. But you can't say you're autonomous and every day you're coming for money. That's like your child in your house eating your food, you're putting gas in the car, you're paying with all the expenses, and then they want to tell you what they're going to do. It don't work like that. It's like, if you come in for money all the time, obviously something is wrong. I need to be involved. I don't want to be involved. I get enough problems in central government to deal with. But anyway, so the thing about this, the governor of the Virgin Islands is the most powerful governor in the country because of the powers vested in him by the Organic Act of 1964 and further explained...
54, yeah.
I'm sorry, 54. Yeah. And further explained in the code, Title 23 under emergencies. So I could have done this from a long time. I could have done it in December. But no, I said, no, I'm gonna go to the legislature. I'm going to give them a part to be active in this. And I don't want to make this about a battle with the legislature, but they just mashed me on. And I'll admit, I'm a little upset.
But Governor, it's Carnival, baby.
It is Carnival.
I mean, come on, man. You can't get him a mulligan on this one? That's what you say? I beg you to don't beat up on them for the benefit of the
But you know what?
Virgin
It's so ridiculous. You know why?
Don't beat up for the people of the Virgin Islands right now. We need...
This is it. After this show, I done. You know what's so ridiculous about it? It done.
You make the payment already?
Yeah, I don't make the payment. But that part done. But the code also gives the legislature, right, the ability to revisit and vote down the emergency after 60 days. So 60 days from now, if they think I shouldn't be involved in WAPA and making all these things happen, they could say, no, Governor, you can't have an extension of your emergency. Of course, I could call another one the next day, but that's another scenario. So there's so many little things that I can do that I don't use because I'm not about running the legislature.
Just so that we let the public know that we could walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yeah.
The section is actually 1005, not 1105.
Sorry, 1005.
And so the governor
1105 is the part that talks about I keep saying 1105 because it's the part that talks about
the legislature and the governor and all that stuff, right? But in this particular case, it says here, this is what we're talking about? The governor and emergencies or major disasters?
Absolutely.
That's what we're talking about. Okay. So the governor is responsible for meeting the dangers to the territory.
Hello. What you say?
And people presented by emergencies or major disasters. So even if me and the governor were the staunchest of enemies, I want the public to know that it's right here. Okay? Title 23. It says Internal Security and Public Order. Chapter 10, Virgin Islands Territorial Emergency Management Act, Subchapter, Emergencies and Major Disasters, Section 1005. It said the governor is responsible for meeting the dangers. In other words, you go take them head on.
Absolutely.
To the territory and people presented by emergencies or major disaster. So the governor may cooperate with the President of the United States, heads of armed forces, blah, 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 and all that stuff. So this is just validating what you just said with respect to how powerful the governor of the Virgin Islands is. Okay.
If I feel it, and it doesn't allow anybody to determine if I'm in danger.
No state of emergency may continue for longer than 30 days unless renewed by the governor. The governor may renew the initial state of emergency for one additional 30-day period, but to extend the state of emergency beyond the two 30-day periods before the expiration of the second 30-day period, the governor shall submit legislation to the legislature requesting an extension of the state of emergency.
You know who put in that part?
Who that?
Tregenza Roach.
It
never used to have a renewal.
You're an our lieutenant governor?
Yeah.
Wow.
You see, you put in a 60-day review because
the conversation sweet. You know, okay, you got great hosts, right? Yeah. But we're gonna take a break, right? I even lost track of time, so I go look over this a little bit. And by the way, we want to clarify with respect to Senator Gittins and Senator Fred Gregory about the legislation as it relates to WAPA. We'll take a break. The governor's in the house. We're live streaming. We'll be back right after this. Oh gosh, we back here and analyze this and look, former colleagues are beating up on me and all that stuff. I guess I'm going too easy on you. But I just I'm gonna defend myself right now. Did I not just say when we started? I'm gonna speak Yankee twang now. When we started, didn't I say that I am biased on behalf of the legislature?
You did.
Did I not just say they have a contract call in 2024 that you do not, and that's a political variable that we're dealing with? Didn't I just say that? I'm trying to, make things easier for the members of the legislature. Why? Because I put a dozen in there. You know what I'm saying? And I know the deal. And I know how powerful a governor can be. I didn't even realize he was this powerful.
Quote unquote, I will defend them. That's what you said.
Man. So I know y'all want me to kill him, right? And I got the knife, but I ain't got the garlic. You know what I'm saying? You're jerk. So here's the deal. I want how we would call a level resolution on behalf of the people, and I want to protect the members of the branch that I'm biased towards. I'm being very honest here, right? So the governor, you're stating, and I did my research, right? I'm a more educated person now than I was 25, 40 minutes ago, because I could now cite Title 23, Section 1005 on a whim. So, Governor, I just learned you got more power than I even know the governor had, right? How can we make this a win-win for the people of the Virgin Islands? Well, specifically, the chief executive yourself and the members of the 35th legislature. How can we make this a win-win? Is that possible?
I'm going to sponsor.
Pull that microphone closer.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sponsor a reading hour for the legislature. Anybody can come where I can go through parts of the code and explain to you what this means. Now, the power of the legislature remains. And when I hear certain senators going on the radio and talking and stuff, I'd be like, but in the executive orders declaring the emergency, that you don't have to look. It says it was cited. It cites a code where. So
then Sanders is pushing back at me, former colleague, and they said the rainy fund has specific uses. What's your interpretation of that?
So here's the other thing that they don't read. Go back and read the legislation.
Budget stabilization fund. This is what we're talking about.
This is what it does. This is a part. You go back and read that. And this is how I behave, Neville, and how I try to work collaboratively with people. But when you choke and mash me can, the governor of the Virgin Islands does not need the legislature approval to use the budget stabilization fund. It says in the law that all we need to do is the commissioner of finance needs to notify the director of OMB that there's a need, and the both of them sign off and they use it.
Let me read the language here for the public so that we can, commingle the language and your interpretation, for the lack of a better term, right? Or contextualize, right? So the fund consists of an annual appropriation of not less than $5 million and 10% of any fiscal year surplus within the territory of the Virgin Islands. The Commissioner of Finance shall deposit the monies contained in the fund in a separate interest-bearing account pursuant to Title 33 Virgin Islands Code. All interest gained on the monies deposited in the fund must be expended solely for the same purposes as the principal monies deposited into the fund. So the Commissioner of Finance shall transfer funds from the Budget Stabilization Fund to the General Fund for the following purposes: to offset any deficit in the General Fund at the end of the fiscal year, which occurs when the sum in the General Fund is less than the sum appropriated during a fiscal year, to offset a temporary shortfall in the General Fund caused by lagging revenue collections as to avoid delay in the disbursement of funds appropriated by legislature, and to provide emergency funding for disaster recovery in a state of emergency declared by the governor. So
reading is fundamental.
Are you using that last clause?
So let's go back, Neville, right?
As the justification for your actions, Governor?
No. I don't have to. But I'm just showing you.
But there's a basis for you acting like as you feel it is in the best need of people of the Virgin Islands.
So let me show you how kind, considerate, and process-driven I am. I didn't need to call the legislature in December and ask them for a line of
Not
credit.
not according to subsection
No.
3 in section D.
But I didn't want to spend it without consulting them. So I said, listen, this is what I can do. Like, authorize me to do anything. I didn't need the authorization. Further, once the state of emergency is declared, I could use any fund in the government of the Virgin Islands.
You have arbitrary power to declare a state of emergency?
Yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it arbitrary, but I mean, you have when the people. The thing that I think we all need to understand. I'm gonna go back to some of my senators. Ain't all of them. I get along with everybody. Some of them I had it with, but anyway, when the public invests their vote in you, and you swear on and you to that oath of office, the public has two roles for you. One is to represent what I want, what the public want, what they say. The next other one is to lead, for you to do your job and to you to make sure that you moving and doing things that they may not have all the information about. And the problem comes in when you have a group of people that don't understand that piece. So as governor of the Virgin Islands, I could have done a lot of things before without the legislature, but I like harmony.
So let me ask questions that you're asking, right? There's something called a special session that can be called by the governor. Why not go that route in this instance?
I explained that. Whoever is texting you is not listening, because didn't I say it? I said I could have called special session.
Yeah.
But I know if I did that, for some reason it just
you didn't want to get into the No, I don't want to speak for you, so I just want to say this. You also stated that there was a committee meeting and that the legislature took WAPA out behind the woodshed and did what they were supposed to do. Right?
Am I going to be director too? I mean, they put blows on us too, which is not, it erodes the public trust and faith in the government of the Virgin Islands. It erodes everybody's trust.
No, the legislature said yesterday, though, in fairness to them, that there's been withholding of information. Is that accurate? And hold on a second. In this instance, I don't think they're talking about you. I think they're talking about WAPA.
Oh, well, no.
And with all due respect,
I can't speak to it. I don't know what they asked WAPA for.
With all, because they had the press conference yesterday.
Here it is. I love when I speak to you, and public forgive me because I get a little colloquial when I speak. I don't always stick to my decorum of my office. I apologize for that. I get passionate about this.
But I got you. I can protect you from yourself.
Neville. You paid my house, right? You owe me $1,000. Never win my money. Well, I want to see your books because I don't think you should be charging me what you charge me. And I want to see all the money you spending and all the other things you buy in your company. Like, Governor, but you owe me, bro. You owe me $1,000.
Governor,
how do you justify not paying your money?
And I gonna tell you, Mr. Bryan, I paint your house and I want my money.
I don't have a problem with them questioning WAPA about everything, but you got to pay your bill. Even the PSC, right? They tell you can file a claim, but pay your bill. Otherwise, you're going to get cut off. I mean, and you know what is extremely annoying about this? There's no accountability when it comes to the hospitals and the waste management. And you know why I get
you know something? I want to thank you for taking me back to where I wanted to go because I pulled up the story, right? Governor, we got big problem here because the more things change, the more the remain the same.
Absolutely.
Remember we win that lawsuit? I think it was some Ingersoll or something, and we found out that they had during they had taken advantage of us during may have been the latter part of the Turnbull Richards administration. We found out about it in the DeYoung Francis administration, and Governor DeYoung filed a lawsuit, and then we get the money in the MAP administration, the $8 million. Yeah. And you know, they called me up. There were 8.1, and I was Senate President. They called me up there, and me and Senator Sanders met with Julio Rima, and the governor, and said, "Look, this is April 2016. Neville, I know we just get our money, but WAPA need all of it." I know back then you were probably, putting your gubernatorial thing together. You weren't a commissioner of labor then, right. And I made this statement on my show the other day, and I'm going to make it again. The biggest regret I ever made was allowing them to play the legislature as WAPA being sad sack, and because the hospital and waste management owe WAPA all this money, that we give all that money to WAPA. You know why? Because we're allowing them to do this to us over and over again. We got to fix this problem, Governor.
But
they're holding us hostage. You say, well, the reason why we don't pay our WAPA bill, that's what the hospital said, because medicine is a greater priority than electricity. And while that might be factually true, that's not governance, and that's why I wrote it here, man.
I'm going to call the name today. Alma Francis Heidegger went and misinformed the public again and say that we have a single-payer fund. We have a single-payer utility fund for central government. It doesn't cover
the authorities. And that's why I just mentioned waste management, the hospitals. We got to fix this. Which leads to this.
Fix.
Let me ask this question: when we constructing these new hospitals, we incorporating generators in these hospitals so that they don't have to pay. So they got to pay WAPA, man, because they're killing us, man.
Solar and batteries. But here they say, right? Two things I'm going to tell you today, right? In December, the other thing we told our legislature, we said, get a single-payer utility fund for these bad actors, the hospitals and waste management. And make sure, Jennifer, Director O'Neill, take the money out of their allotment monthly to make sure they keep up to date. They still ain't do that, you know. They ain't do that either. I mean, it's like, okay, here's the other responsible thing. And I get irritated. And the legislature, you know, I apologize because I get irritated when my Carla Joseph, you know, I love her to death. I love her to death, Carla. She always talking to me about my decorum.
But you know why you get irritated? They got a contract, Carla. You ain't got none. I keep telling you this.
No. This is before they said, because this is what irritated me. When we come together and we have a conversation, don't ask me stupid questions like why the hospital ain't paying the bill. First of all, the hospital have a board and a CEO. Second of all, you know the hospital underfunded. You know every year we appropriate another $10 to $15 million to help waste management pay their budget, pay their bills. Ain't you?
No, man. I every Wednesday when I wake up and I go outside and I see my garbage clear. I mean, they ain't hotting. I got me put it that way. I can't say they get paid, but I know they ain't hotting to the point where they ain't sending out the hollers.
You know they don't see it like me sitting down. You could go and ask Bobo. You could ask Marco.
Yeah.
Sit down with them guys. Them guys ain't get a raise in years.
I got two cell phones. I got two cell phones. You can't hear them, but you can see them. They're lighting up like a Christmas tree.
Hauling garbage for years.
Here is one opinion. And one thing about the callers is it look like, you know, they don't call in. They can text me because
you know what they have. You know, right? I gonna make them get a support group.
But check this out. Check this
support
out.
group.
Check this out. Richie Motor use a communications man, and I know the chief of staff listening and governor. They got a new word, a new spelling for word, TYAD. Tired. And here's what I said. Tired of all this talk about power and money, and still we look and live like we do it. It's embarrassing. Just look around. And I can't, you know.
What does that mean?
I'm willing to take the blame. Now, what it's saying is this is my interpretation, right? We are just going through the motions and have been going through the motions with respect to addressing this energy crisis that's been here for 20 years.
That's total BS. Here's another thing. And I hope it's a legislator.
No. 20. No. It's not BS, Governor. 20 years. The acronym LEAC came into the fold. Nobody knew about the acronym.
Let me tell you why.
And we still dealing with a WAPA issue and a power issue in 2024. We ain't blaming you. You know, I'm part of it. I was there for 12 of it. No, I'm saying we got to fix this problem.
This is the keeper here, right? Right. I could look at every single campaign for the last 8 years for the legislature. I could look for 20 years. Not one person has committed to fixing any problem at the Virgin Islands. I'm going to go up there, I'm going to fight for you, I'm going to work for you, I'm going to tired for you, I'm going to do this for you. But nobody commits to anything. I've committed to fixing WAPA. And when people say they're tired, if you have a problem for 50 years, I only here for 5 and I'm working on this problem, right? And
this is you're approaching the 3/4 point. You're in the 6 for a long with the 8
okay,
years.
so I want to point out some things to people and give governors.
But don't take this personally.
No.
I don't want you to do that. This is a decades-long problem that they've identified.
But it's time.
Right.
People
Now, if you want to give yourself flowers for submitting legislation and all that stuff, go right ahead. But this is not a Albert Bryan created problem. This is a Virgin Islands issue that is a reality because we're detached from the mainland.
When we took over the government, they said we're going to broke in April. Didn't happen. When COVID started, they said we were going to die. Didn't happen. Thrived. When I told them I was going to fix the GRS, they couldn't be done. Done. So when you say about WAPA, oh God, save the commercial, because I want to point out this fact before. Give me 2 minutes, right?
No. We're going to pick it up. We're going to start the second hour with that. So you can even marinate them better. Right? You can marinate them better, right? We'll take a break. We got the governor in the house. Live and direct, candid conversation. We'll be back right after this.
The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters. Opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.
And we're back here and Analyze This. Heated, but it is electric. It's electric. It's an electric conversation here with the governor. And Governor Mott, thank you very much. Because when you come on the ratings, just take off. It is what it is. You're the governor, right? So I want to be very honest about that, right? A couple of things I want to say before you get back to, because you say you needed 2 minutes to really speak to some context, right? I want the public to know this, right? That when I first ran, and I have to be a little sensitive to my situation, back in 2004, that was a non-gubernatorial year. I was a beneficiary of public discontent with its elected officials at that time. That's when the LEAC thing really kicked in. That's why this is personal for me, right? And, I set records, first time candidate in a non-gubernatorial year, all this money, all these votes, and matter of fact, for those of you who don't know, me, even when me and the governor may be warring within the last 20 years, when I had a big event, my first time I ran, you were there on the microphone. Ray Martinez, it's a small world. Everything is cyclical, right? But here's the point, Governor. You and I know that we have an obligation to level with the public and be candid. And I use data as a basis for a lot of my arguments because you really can't. The numbers don't lie. They may not tell the whole story, but they don't lie, right? Our biggest issue here in the Virgin Islands is our energy crisis. And it impacts everything, to include cost of living. However, second biggest issue is healthcare, because we got an unfunded healthcare structure here where folks are uninsured, and the government of Virgin Islands provides that healthcare for them and has been doing that for a lot of years.
Locally and nationally.
And nationally, correct. It is not limited to the Virgin Islands. Yes. I agree. And
no. I'm going to make sure they understand what we're saying.
Yeah.
We pay the bill locally and nationally.
Oh, yes, correct. I was getting to that. In that context, you're absolutely correct. Because we got a lot of people who believe that they'll get better medical health care on the mainland. So they leave the territory.
Well, the emergencies.
And we pay that bill. The emergency require that.
Yeah, if you get shoot in your head.
And we can't provide that.
We fly you out.
We fly you out. Agreed.
Bill.
So is the real question, Governor, that we need to fix our structure here in the Virgin Islands?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I want to finish up, but I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you this, and I say it all the time. We have 33,000 tax filers. First of all, let's 33,000 tax filers. During COVID, when we were giving out the stimulus checks and all that thing, it went to 41,000 tax filers.
Yeah.
So it moved from 33 to 41. So that's 8,000 people that won't file in taxes, that file taxes to make sure they're going to get a stimulus check. Right? Funny, right? Out of those 33,000 filers, 89 people pay 66% of the income tax. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 100 people pays 2/3 of the income tax to the Virgin Islands. If you add another 3,000 people, it goes to 84. So what I'm saying is 30,000 people in the Virgin Islands only contribute 16% of the income taxes. What does that mean? The governor's greatest source of revenue are income taxes.
Correct.
And if we don't have people producing, making money, paying taxes, we don't have money to pave roads, fix schools, service the power plant, and do all the other things, the myriad of things the government does. And that's been the situation for years. When people say, oh, are you looking around and you remain the same? Don't forget, my fellow Virgin Islands, how resilient and strong you are. Not because we hear, we must forget the truth. We have rebuilt the entire power grid 3 times in 30 years. Think about that.
Define rebuilt.
Every pole line was destroyed in Hugo, destroyed again in Maryland, and destroyed again in Maria. Every
in that context, correct.
Transformers, poles. So during that time, people say, "Oh, things ain't coming." We've undergrounded a lot, so we were a little better off in Irma Maria than we were in Maria, in Hugo.
Hugo and Maryland.
We've upgraded the building code, so now the roofs stay on. The roofs that blew off during that time were in the last storm was stuff that were built before '89, right? That's the last of it.
It was a different kind of storm.
WAPA has now expanded the undergrounding to do almost 50%. 50% of them will be undergrounded. They've installed composite poles. They're almost 60% done.
But the cost to the ratepayers, Governor. I want you to transition from Governor Bryan to Albert Bryan.
I'm going there.
Yeah.
Three substations they already repaired. They've installed the 4 Wachsler generation and up. We bought 2 new gas turbines. WAPA has still underground all the water in Frederickstead, all the water lines, Campo Rico. We down in White Lady, down there in Frederickstead, doing all of that at the same time. Been through a water crisis. In the last year and a half, almost every power grid has raised prices. In the last 5 years, WAPA has gone up a half a penny.
You're talking nationally, you're talking about that statement you just
In
said.
the Caribbean.
In the Caribbean, okay.
St. Lucia has raised their power bill 222% since the Ukraine war.
But the question is, why aren't we more efficient, given that and your ODR director, a good friend Adrian Williams, right, sat right there, like early in my analysis tenure, and she said, Neville, of the 8 billion at the time, that was the number, right? 30% or thereabouts, 2.3 billion is energy related.
Absolutely.
Right? That was the number. I remember I memorized that one day, right? So then right there. And the efficiency and the cost to the ratepayers ain't equating to recovery. Why is that?
So, couple of things I want to say. I like low pack, but I like butter because it's a good price monitor. It sounds strange.
Yeah. Some of us is calm beef, but
yeah. A pack of low pack butter used to be $1.35 back in 2005. That thing is like $4 or $5 now.
Well,
right?
That's
a pound of butter in the Virgin Islands.
We don't talk about that.
$10.
The greedflation, Governor.
Right?
It ain't just about the energy costs. They're killing us.
No, here they say what people when I tell
and that's nationally too.
When you and I were struggling, when everybody were getting laid off in the bad days, when came out in handle lights, how much we were paying a kilowatt hour? 52 cents.
The highest number you're talking about?
Yes.
Our peak, yes.
52 cents.
Yeah.
How much you paying now?
Yeah.
43. So low pack butter triple, but it like be lower than it was then.
Like be lower, but the cost of commodities when they go to the different supermarkets, they're up.
Of course, because oil is up. So when people come and
but even when oil wasn't up, they were killing us. It was a big issue,
There
man.
was a time, though.
Let me ask you this question. You managed the pandemic. One of the things I've said is the Virgin Islands government, based on the data, can't refute it, right? Did an excellent job managing the pandemic, right? But governor, man, oh gosh, man, they really mean to dig out our item because the Virgin Islands, because our population is only 100,000 or thereabouts, financially we benefited from the pandemic. I'll be very honest. I mean, I'll call it spade a spade. Yeah. That when that money came in, whether it be stimulus or CARES Act or whatever it be.
Oh God, don't we?
We benefit, and then people came here to get married. They come in groups of 12 because they couldn't go down island, so they have to come here. So we benefited from this thing, right? And the stores. One of the things the President Biden has complained about is why are these corporations doing this to the consumers? And the same thing is happening here. Look, I love the businesses. I know they gotta make money, but come on, man, it ain't fair.
It's not fair.
I'm serious. It ain't fair. What they doing?
I mean, food
and they have this out where they say WAPA. Nah, man.
No.
They got a lot of how you running generator.
No, the bill been the same.
Yeah, but and a lot of them running generator, man.
Commodities have risen worldwide.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say WAPA. WAPA is a good scapegoat. I used to beat up Hugo when he was there all the time. It was like, it's WAPA problem. But the fact remains that the light bill is lower now than it was in 2009.
Not 9. A little bit later. Because remember in 9, right? And we had this discussion last week on the show. Remember in 8, you're going to have to petition the PSC for reduction because remember the price of oil dropped from $150 a barrel down to the $30, $40 area. And then it went back up real quick.
In the John D. Young administration, the light bill never went below 40 cents. I think maybe at the last.
No, it went down below that. I gonna pull it.
I don't trust you because you.
No. I actually highlighted this.
But what I'm saying
stories,
is,
on Friday, I did it on Friday. Yeah,
we didn't feel all of that because of the ARPA funds, and then. Donna Fred Gregory got on yesterday and says states are claiming Senator Donna Fred Gregory and say states are calling in surpluses because of those ARPA funds. Why we have a cash shortage, Senator? Remember, I went to you and you reprogrammed the $25 million and the $40 million that we pay back. Remember when we pay back the 8%? All I'm thinking was surplus, right? Remember?
Question, Neville. Ask what is the status of the Charles Howard demolition. It had started demolition mid-23 and be completed at 23. No activity now. What you
Yeah,
hearing?
I a little irritated about that. The lab in the back,
What's the deal? Yeah, what's
the lab
deal?
in the back
Yeah,
had
what's the
to be
deal?
moved before we do it. We have to have a certified lab built. So I think they're almost about done with that now, so they can move the lab because they don't want to do any more demolition with that structure on the property. So I think they
So demolition still is in order.
Yeah,
But this
yeah,
is this is just a technical glitch or whatever.
right.
Okay.
It's just something that they didn't account for. It's like they didn't think we running into a lot of little snafu problems like that, but they can't close the lab because it's our only certified lab in the territory, so we have to relocate it. And I think we just about got that done. So it'll start demolition and stuff. But trust me, them guys for the demolition call me every day, want to know when go start.
I owe it to my audience to take at least a couple of calls. We got both lines on. Just one. Go. And by the way, Governor, you said 9:30. I'm asking you for 9:40 when we take the break. Can we get you to 9:40?
Well, I think so.
Can we get Mr. Press Secretary? Can we get him to 9:38? Can we actually break that? 9:38. Okay, I appreciate.
We're all about compromise.
I appreciate that. Good morning, Carla. Welcome to Analyze This. Got a question or comment for the governor?
Yes, ma'am. I have a comment for the governor.
Question or comment?
Yes,
Go right ahead.
I have a question for the governor.
Yeah.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Neville.
Morning.
Mr. Governor, we have one concern. What's the issue with running a car race track on the island of St. Thomas, man? We need a car race track on St. Thomas. Governor, just like the good Neville say, that you're on the 6 furlong now with the race. So the politics over.
Mister,
We need a car race track now on the island of St. Thomas.
my good brother.
What's the concern with that?
My good brother. My good brother. Good morning and blessed love to you. If you could find me a piece of land, a quarter mile, with a little runoff for we to do it on, I gonna make it happen. But I've been looking. I can't find no property.
I have a suggestion, Governor.
Okay.
Hold on a second. You know you like to call me showing you to bring entertainment value, right? Give me a question, a priority question. Because I'm be honest with you. I love racing. I like horse racing. Car racing a priority now. Give me a priority question for the governor. Priority.
Well, priority question for the governor. Well, Neville, may have more.
I got you now, so I don't want to run you off. Ask the governor a priority question.
We're going to something else.
Yeah.
Let me answer the question about the land, because I want to find the stretch for the car race too, because I get a question a lot. My good friend Dr. Gilbert Commission is, that's my boy, and he bring his car St. Croix to run, so, where we going to find the land?
Well, Governor, may have a suggestion for the land, in back of Price Mart. In back of Price Mart in St. Thomas. Governor, we could easily trade off maybe property taxes or even government property for the strip back there.
Hartman.
Right there, over there, yes, in Hartman property back there. All we have to do is utilize the property back there, Governor. Politics, no. This ain't no more now. People are not saying quite.
I know you believe. I know you believe that I don't know about carriers, but I want to cruise Pedro fan myself, right? They got too much undulations going on back there behind. And that's a wetland. That's a wetland.
Yeah, it's a wetland.
That's a wetland. So that's a good suggestion.
I gonna call them. They are a little vexed with me.
But Carla, before I don't know if you were living here back in the day, but we used to get car racing in Bovoni back in the day, all that stuff. So thanks for the call, Carla. And you the Carly to talk politics down the road, so we good for that. We got another call on the line. Give thanks. We ain't got a call on the line yet. Okay, so Governor, you know me, right? Yeah. October 1, 2008, WAPA proposal would reduce average electric bill 18%. The rate just up.
It happened?
Right? November 13, 2008, PSC approves 34% drop in LIAC rate. So I just want you to know. I ain't gonna talk here, but I like to talk. Yeah. You know, I used to live on that. But there is one thing I want to say, right? In concert with what you're saying, and I could say that I was saying this before Governor Albert Bryan. WAPA belonged to the people of the Virgin Islands.
Hello.
And I'm going to tell you, WAPA belong to we. We have an obligation to fix it and make it right. Now, I know there are those who believe it's a 60-plus year experiment that has gone bad. But I also want them to know, we aren't part of any national grid. When the power went out in New York in 2003, it wasn't because of New York City. Something went bad in Ohio. That's just the reality of this. So let me fix the problem here. We got all this brain power here. Let me fix this problem because it's hurting us here in the territory.
So I tell you, the good news is, and let me big up my president.
I got another question here.
Joseph Biden has given us a lot of resources to solve this. We got some short-term cash flow and problems, but we could see our way through them. We're going to get through this. And this is the first time I could say that we could solve it. We got 4 solar plants building right now. I show you the one out Great Pond.
Yes.
Right? It was incredible, 16 megawatts. We got about 3 or 4 more coming on by the end of the year, but we got to get some things done in WAPA to be able to put that power on the grid.
Another question here from through the live streaming. What about the retirees retro? What's the status? We're here.
Well, we don't have any money, so I mean, my priority right now is tax returns. We're sending out 10 million. That should be coming out this week.
But the
It's this week, right? It's Friday, Rich.
The obligation for tax returns in May 30th or April 30th?
No. We just send.
No, I'm talking about you pay so you don't accrue interest.
Yeah, I think
it's on May 30th, right?
Yeah,
we file on the 15th. And I mean,
yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's correct. So we're going to be sending out some tax returns. Retirees, they ain't even retirees. It's people we owe retro pay. You know, we try and work on that, but we got to pay the tax returns first. We filed it way behind. We had a good tax day. We've count everything yet, but it was better than last year.
And it's still collecting.
And we're still collecting, yeah. So it's looking pretty good. But
for those of you who don't know, April, June, September, those are the 3 biggest months for tax collections historically in the government out of Virgin Islands.
So and that's why we needed a little line of credit. But that's not, I ain't going back there. But the things are looking better, but you realize I have a priority to pay the tax returns first, and I have a priority to make sure that the government is funded first. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to get some money out to you because I know our people really need the cash. So I like to spend money in the public. People know we pay everybody when we can. And, you know, I heard that the legislature referred to the ARPA funds. We still have ARPA funds, but we have projects that we're trying to get completed and the money that have been obligated that we keep actually using that money to subsidize WAPA and make sure that
we got to fix that problem.
I mean, like
Tired.
we have
TYAD. I think you could add another A in there.
But imagine if we didn't do it, every Virgin Islanders would be paying $2,000 more.
Correct.
Per year.
We taking the final break. The governor has committed 9:38. So you got one more segment. Don't be afraid to send the questions like you've been doing it on the stream, our Facebook page, all that good stuff. We'll take a break. Governor's in the house, trying to balance, taking my shots at him with, agreeing with him and all that stuff. So we'll be back right after this. analyze this. It's a hump day. The sun trying to work its way through the rain. All that stuff. But I don't want the island gonna be green. And Governor, green is the color of the conversation. It's about money,
It is.
right? And so here's a thought that came to me. The big figure now, as it relates to recovery, is what, 14, 15 billion dollars?
Yeah.
If we were to put a percentage of what is obligated out of that number, what's the number? 9,
Well,
10, 11, 12?
I think we are 8 billion obligated, 6 or 8 billion. So
Are you going to leave office, God willing, with recovery still a long way to go?
oh yeah.
That's just the reality of the recovery.
So we just director Octalyn Williams, my good friend Adrian. She just sent out $2 billion worth of projects for bid. So the Rebuild USVI, which is we're so excited about, will allow us to have $8 billion in projects obligated, contracted out by next year. And $2 billion is out right now. We're requesting for qualifications on the $2 billion. That's out. It's on USVIODR.com. You could go on there and look at it. And that's going to allow us now to kind of narrow down who will be bidding on these projects and get that going. And then we're going to have another one come out maybe in another 60 days or so. And then we're getting the Super PMO project manager contractor in. That's out for bid now too. So it's all going to be done, and then we have to just let people go in. If you drive down to Arthur Richards, Evelyn Williams, Paradise, you could see now they're coming out to the ground with walls and stuff. They actually have a structure up. The cisterns, a lot of them they have done already, the drainage, all that stuff. I can't imagine what the kind of mud down there today.
I tell you, you've been governor since January 2019, and 2 terms will take you to January 2027. And in the college just got, he was thinking hash race vernacular. And I've been using, you're there in year 6, right? Which means that at the end of 2024, you've passed the 3-quarter mark, and now you're in the final quarter. What took so long for that road issue and that waste management issue in Christiansted?
What do you mean to be? That project is ahead of schedule.
No. Why did because that problem was identified a long time ago? Was there an administrative problem issue or CASA? Or that was money? That was money alone. I'm talking about. Because remember that started in 2023 in year 5 of your 8 years. So you could speak to that. I can't. So I just ask him based on the
first
chronology.
Of all, there's a couple of projects. It wasn't one single project, but people. You could ask him himself, ask Carl Shan and ask him. We actually held that project for over a year, waiting for him to get bonding in order to do the project. And
so there was a private sector issue there as well.
Right. So in at the same time, to his credit, I mean, Carl spade a spade, Waste Management owed him a ton of money, which they still are in flux about how much who owes. That was a lot of stuff created during the initial response to the hurricane and whatnot. So we felt a little obligation to kind of give him time to get his funding together. But his project is
now Ron Phillips was here, and it looks like the infrastructure approach back in the day caused some issue as well. Cause they go dig up sidewalk and them kind of thing.
Yeah.
You heard. He say that here. Are you aware of that?
I am aware. When they told me about this project, they didn't tell me they were going to dig up King Street. I didn't know they were going to dig up here in Richmond. So, they had a Christiansted Town project. It was like, and it was going to be the laterals, not the main roads.
Because the businesses they're supposed to, they make a good, you just reference the percentage of our revenues based on the amount of taxpayers, right? Or the taxpayers, the volume that taxpayers pay. Same thing with businesses. They make a lot of their revenue between November and April. And their biggest concern was why you were doing this during the Christmas.
The thing is it's got to get done, and I wouldn't choose to do it during that period if I had my way ultimately. But I'll tell you, I definitely console with the businesses. No, but I want to make sure I make this point though. Mm-hmm. Main Street was dug up for 8 years. 8 years. Gallows Bay No Bones, my boy Chuck and everybody down there. We dig up the Alice Bay too. Then you know how much they suffer. But how many times have those same business and Christians that call me about the clogged sewer and the sewage running in the street? So even though you gotta break some eggs to make some mayonnaise, but
one of
my
listeners, I sent this question, and you actually went there before I get to ask. Right? Good morning. You got a big man on. That's what they say here. I really never read him. We have to touch on the construction bonding system. Would you just happen to mention that by chance, right? These extremely high thresholds act as a gatekeeper to the local contractors, which has hurt our overall financial health as a community. This is some beautiful English, by the way, right? These high bonding thresholds have not ensured quality. In fact, the large outside companies have cut corners and caused the overrun to the extreme.
Well, I don't know about that. And this is why we're changing the way that we bid things out, too, because we know that, like, right now, right, just in education alone, we have $840 million of projects running.
That announcement yesterday or the day before, FEMA, some 300 plus million?
No, we didn't even talk about that. We're talking about actual contracts in operation.
Ongoing right now.
That's more than the entire bonding capacity of the Virgin Islands put together. So what I do, the biggest problem with contractors, because they pass all the costs on to the government anyway, is most of them don't have their books together. The other thing is, y'all killing the people of the Virgin Islands with them prices. I don't care what you say. There's no way residential should be $300 a square foot in the Virgin Islands. It's too much stuff to build. And there's no way. We went out to build the dock, the boat ramp.
Your security just came there like I'm supposed to be intimidated by him.
No.
He has a suit on.
He's like, he got to go. Rosemary probably sent him. That job, our in-house estimate was $750,000 to put a boat ramp, just to roll the boat in the water.
Come on, man.
It come back at $4 million.
Come on,
That's
man.
what the bid is. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
It's like people trying to build homes. They can't build homes. So what's happening? And I realize
that's a personal thing for you, having worked in housing and all that stuff.
We got some good news coming on that too.
Yeah.
But you, it's not like before.
Yeah.
You're not going to build one house. We got 300 houses to build. So your margins could be a little less. We fixed the funding problem now. We have
so we're ready to construct.
Yeah, we have $100 million for line of credit, so we could pay people right out. We're trying our best to do it. So if your payment delayed, we could get your money out. We got some things coming down the pipe to make sure. The bid for this week, Housing Finance Authority, Friday, they're supposed to send out the bid. And I told them, I said, you send out a bid, and I'll tell you, if you could build a house in the Virgin Islands, 1,500 to 1,800 square feet for less than $450,000, we'll buy every one from you. Every single one. We'll buy them.
The government has had the ability to buy homes for like 4 or 5 years now.
We get the money. You know, when people come and talk to me about building, I said, build a house.
So why is construction such a problem? Why are they? I mean, this $300 a square foot thing
in St. Thomas, I got a proposal to build a 1,200 square foot house, affordable housing.
Yeah,
$800,000.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I mean, like, who? I went to Barbados and I saw prefab. You know the whole Paradise, Mount Pleasant behind there, Albemarle Homes.
Yeah.
All of that is prefab.
Yeah.
It's precast concrete. We could do something.
And holding up relatively well, if not excellent.
I went down there and interviewed the people myself because it's been 30 years. Them homes, 90? Yeah, it's been about 30 years. Yeah. And those homes went through a couple hurricanes. So I went to Barbados and I see how we could get poor people homes because it really troubled me. St. Thomas.
No. I wanted to break that down. I don't want people to think you're insulting them when you said poor people. Because I remember Howard Hoover make that statement 90 years ago and they kill you effective poor house when in fact it was like a backhand compliment. Break that one down.
But I just want to make
affordable housing.
But really affordable housing because, you know, I see a way we could get somebody a house for $325,000, and you know, and that's only because the government will bite on the price of $100,000 on your home, so you could gain a home.
So the mortgage is for $225.
Absolutely, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I old school. I just say turning into my grandmother when she says I used to buy bread for a penny. I can't imagine how people are.
The bread was excellent back then.
Yeah. How people
bakery bread back in
let me say, a 2-parent family, 2 household, two adults and 2 children in the Virgin Islands paying a mortgage of 400,000 or 300,000 with an average household income of 52,000. How
we touch,
average,
Let me touch on the GRS. Where are we right now? 'Cause I know you did that stopgap and you put a structure policy in place. How the GRS as it relates to solvency?
I think, we okay. It's not a today problem, but every day the problem grows bigger because of interest and time value of money. So if we don't have, because of the rum cover over is short, the money's not in there. So it's not gaining interest on our behalf. When we get the money from Treasury, we're not going to get interest on that money.
The Congress just passed this Ukrainian $60 billion
that
package.
That thing irritated me.
Right. Well, no.
I'm trying to be nice.
I'm anti-Russia.
Wasn't it 95 billion?
So anything to undermine Putin, I go with it. But I want to know if they could do that, why they can't make longer, if not permanent, our rum cover over at 1325 out of the 1350.
Because tax is a touchy subject. Any kind of tax, anytime you have any tax negotiations, it's the Republicans and the Democrats go to war. And I can tell you,
But that's peanuts. That 200 million, 240 million, whatever the number is, in the grand scheme as it relates to the American economy and American budget, peanuts. That should be a non-issue for them.
But you know what I think we should do?
In particular, when they owe us billions for gasoline excise taxes.
It is peanuts for them. But we're not the only we're not only the tax extender included. There are a lot of other tax extenders.
Well, I actually want for us and Guam and American Samoa and CNMI and the insular positions to start taking an even stronger collective
This
stance.
is a position that we should have had a conversation last night with the refinery. We should get our petroleum covered over. Reading the code again. Remember, you should read the code.
They owe us, man.
The code says
we win that case, man.
That all taxes imposed on Virgin Islands residents by the United States shall be turned back over to the Virgin Islands. And we pay taxes on all our oil exports. The refinery pays excise tax when those oil exports go into the United States. If we could get that, right, we could do some
The
magic
law says we have it, man.
The law says so.
They keep using this ambiguity argument. That's garbage.
But before,
federal judge in 1978 said that's not what Congress meant, and y'all know it.
Yeah,
Oliver Gash, tell them that.
Yeah.
And then Blumenthal versus the Virgin Islands undermined that with the ruling
but
in 1981.
Then
billions, 46 years.
Then
and the environmental impact alone is the reason why they should pay us that money.
Then there was somebody who was going to lose that money. Now there isn't. So imagine if we would be able to get that guaranteed. You're going to like this spot. We could do another Diageo deal. We could actually finance the reopening of the refinery using the oil cover over money that is due back to the Virgin. I give you that one. I put you on in your head to smoke.
Well, I got to go do my research now. You know
yeah. Think about it now, huh?
Me. Well, I got the hat on. You know what I'm saying? I wear the hat for a reason. You know what I mean? I got this going on in the cranium.
These
you know what I'm saying?
are the things that I stay up at night thinking about, and the reason why I rewind my Netflix show 800 times because I don't be listening to nothing they say. I be reading.
Yo.
But man, I want to say this here. I beat up on the legislature, but there's some legislators that I truly
if they were to call you and say, Governor, we don't want to fight. We want to make this thing work. It don't look good. What would be your response?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, there's nothing else to fight for. I mean, all the shenanigans they're going on with, they don't know this is a done deal. I don't do what I have to do.
Nomenclature, shenanigans.
Yeah,
had a good day this morning, Governor. Yeah.
So I already did what I needed to do, but we gotta fix WAPA. So I'm gonna need their help to do that. I'll say another thing.
We're not with the Band-Aid though. When
no.
Fix.
Fix means
you're not talking Band-Aid, right?
5 things that need to happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
One.
You got 2.5 minutes. Knock it out.
The government needs to consistently pay the bill on time.
So that's we. That's a we thing.
That's a we thing.
Yeah.
The legislature can help me do that by creating a single payer fund and either funding it for the extra money the hospitals need or waste managers need, putting the money in there to make sure we stay on point. 2, we need to close the VTOL deal, which we're very close to closing.
When you say close, we need to get out.
Yeah, we're $145 million. We pay for the asset, we get it back.
We got favorable news from the federal government. They're looking favorably on that. When do you expect to make an announcement to that end?
I want
timeline
about 60 days.
Okay.
I want to be able to, and I want the honorable the Honorable Adrian Todman of the Virgin Islands is the acting Secretary of HUD. Let me put that out there for you.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Virgin
I don't think there's
Virgin Islander.
ever been a Virgin Islander at a cabinet level in the history of the United States of America. Okay, two. Three.
No. Alexander Hamilton, your Secretary of Treasury.
Oh, yeah.
Can't forget the boss.
He from Nevis, too.
We educate you, man. Ain't where you're from, it's where you're at. You know what I'm
Three,
saying?
we need to fix the Agreco problem. Right? We need to pay up Agreco, get that on. 4, we need to get the solar going and the interconnect study and agreements done and pay for the batteries. And 5, we need to assure the bondholders that we're going to pay and restructure the short-term debt of WAPA.
So those 5 things got to happen as it relates to our energy situation.
And I stated them in my state of emergency.
Okay, good.
So I need the legislature to hold strain. So you can't keep changing the business landscape.
I'm gonna ask you to call the Senate President again and say we need to talk.
But I tell him yesterday, sorry, you know, and then they went and blazed me up the afternoon.
But they're not right to do that. They got something to protect. Hey, quickly, right? Dwayne Henry, my partner, said, remember the guy who spoke of regulating the manufacturing of concrete the way Puerto Rico does?
Absolutely.
And when we had our first on location, John Wood spoke to that. Whereas they got more control in Puerto Rico than we got here. And you just spoke about housing. That's why they asked that question.
So
we're working on that.
So 2 things.
Can we legislate that fix?
2 things. Yeah, we could. I mean, but you know, the other thing was, the ARPA money. I asked the legislature for recommendations, and I didn't get many. Maurice just wrote me a recommendation to help Senator Maurice James just help me. Just wrote me a recommendation to help the people in Williams to get homes that we're looking at. It doesn't seem too difficult, but we really haven't seen anything else. One of the ideas that I've been tossing around is
you got 10 seconds, time for man. When are you coming back, man?
As soon as possible. I love coming at you.
Mr. President,
one of the things
is, that, please.
What if we have when this ARPA, we could use the excess money that we have in the VI Slice program, right?
Yeah.
And buy, let's say, 10 million cubic yards, or the government of the Virgin Islands, while we're doing this thing, we buy 50,000 cubic yards of concrete.
We got to go. Thank you, Governor. I know Rosie waiting for you.
And pay it up first.
Thank you, Governor.
It will lower the price.
Appreciate it.
Love you,
man.
man. Love you, Virgin Islanders.
That's what I'm talking about. We'll be back right after this. back here and analyze this, and I want to thank the governor for making some time to come here. It really was supposed to be from 8:30 to 10. You could ask me, the engineer them, because we were setting up, all of the, streaming stuff, you know what I mean, for that. So when I tell them, man, the governor down by the gate, the man said, we got it now. I say, yeah, so they knocked that out, right? So, because I would have preferred that he could come to from 8:30 to the end of the show, but he came at 8 because he got run-ins to make. So we appreciate that, right? A couple of things I want to, qualify and validate, right? Remember the governor said that, we never had it this cheap with respect to the costs, right? And remember now, we went through the Great Recession. That's what they labeled it, right? 2008, the latter part 2008 into 2009. And as a result, right? And I stayed here giving the WAPA its props. I remember that table talk show where we did the math. Me, Rocky, Docs, Rani, and we were doing the math as it relates to reduction, right? In kilowatt hour and all that. And once the price started going down, right? And I read it earlier while the governor was here, right? WAPA asked for 18% reduction October 1st, 2008. And then they actually sought, right? I speak good English, right? They sought and received a 34% cut 5 weeks later, right? And it went, they say the proposed LEAC, the surcharge which covers the cost of fuel used to produce water and power for water and power customers, right? At the time was 21 cents, right? Right? And 11% or 34% reduction from the 32 cents, right? So now we're in the 40s. So we're still higher than we were then. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of it has to do with the fact that the commodity that they use is not manufactured here. And that's unfortunate, because there was a time when the commodity was being manufactured here and we were paying through the wazoo. You know what I'm saying? They took advantage of us. All they saw was, we're going to kill, we know that they need us. So that number 2 and number 6, whatever it was, and WAPA needed it. I know a lot of people get upset with me. I said it back then. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. WAPA belonged to me and you, man. Right? So we need to fix it, make it right, so it could be absolutely affordable, highly efficient, reliable. Because as it stands right now, none of those things happening, man. It's too costly, ain't reliable, and ain't efficient. And ever so often, something coming up. And there's a need for emergency payment, right? Now, don't forget, right? I am biased on behalf of the legislature, right? But that don't mean I got to be disrespectful to the governor because of my bias. I'm admitting that I'm imperfect, that I'm flawed. But I go defend the legislature, and I always will, right? And I know, right, the political dynamic that's in play. The governor ain't got none to lose, man. Nothing. So if the senators take either of these postures seeking the same result, it's understandable. The one posture is, well, I want the public to know that me minding the governor. And I going to defend the people them, even if it mean going after the governor. And they're going to play well as relates to their political future and ambitions. Be my guest. If you want to take the other posture, which is the governor ain't got none to lose, so I want to walk with this man because I don't want the public to think that I'm being confrontational. And if that is going to get you to the same place, be my guest. Do whatever works for you. That's my suggestion to the senators. However, make sure you're consistent. And when you take this position, you know why you're taking it. Because just saying things for the sake of saying things ain't getting us nothing. When I get a message there, right, from my listener, and it was a lady, I ain't going to call the name, right? And they said, tired of all this talk about power and money. And still, we look and live like we do. It's embarrassing. Just look around. She is 100% correct. Our recovery monies predated the current administration. That was a February 2018 deal. right? This is April 2024, 6+ years, right? We really see the thing with our naked eye, the recovery like we wanted to. But it is what it is. Recoveries last long, right? And maybe we need to take the Biden approach in this regard. We got to get into more manufacturing here in the Virgin Islands, man. Too dependent on external dynamics. Way too dependent. So then they come to the argument, well, Neville, when you being there, how come you into this? No, I tried. And speaking in this corporate jargon and this visionary approach, don't play well with politics here in the Virgin Islands. We look like we obsessed with crisis management. And certain politicians mastered this game and it worked for them and they were successful and all that stuff. I still don't know how I last that long ago. Because I've always been data-driven and analytical. Don't mind to see me, being a naughty, a scruff, right? I'm a nerdy scruff. Okay? And I like the numbers. That's me. You check? No, some people get vexed with me, man. They can't come to us blaze the governor. The governor's also my guest, man. Hey, don't hate. Don't hate on your boy, man. Just show me some love. I try to balance this thing. Serious, I know the frustration. But I'm a talk show host as well. And I got a right to be respectful. We didn't agree on everything. You know what I'm saying? I even had to bring the data here just now to let the governor know. No, Gov, we had some windows. Our problem is when we get these windows to fix the problem, we don't do nothing. And the problem come back again. And that's why I specifically asked the governor when he said we need to fix WAP. I said, Governor, me talking no Band-Aid, no. I'm talking long term. If we need corrective surgery, do it. You check? So, I'm getting passionate here because, that's how it is. I want the best for the Virgin Islands. I really do. You hear me, right? I sung in more Virgin Island than Crucial now, and it's 100% Big Island, Santa Cruz, right? But I'm getting up there. And I got to think about the betterment of the territory, which can happen if St. Croix is left out of the fold, or St. Thomas, and especially Love City, St. John, and Water Island. They get love too. You know what I'm saying? So, just want to know, right? Governor being here, and you either space out, he visit them because the governor know when he come here. I ready for read. Now, me didn't even get to talk about the politics from last night. Not even yesterday. We're going to leave out the trial. We got plenty of time to talk about Biden's trial. But that Pennsylvania primary last night, some serious revelations there, and we're going to come to that. But let me do the programming notes for tonight for Channel 12, because we didn't do that at the top of the hour because the governor being on, right? Wednesday, the 24th it is, right? Bam, bam, bam. But we there. Here we go. PBS News Hour at 7. I'm gonna speak the Yankee twang now, right? The News Hour at 7. At 8 p.m., Changing Planet, investigate the urgent efforts to help coral reef survive climate change. That's us, right? So tune in tonight, for sure, right? At 9, A Brief History of the Future, investigate the human ability to create a better world. That's us again, right? And then that's a brief history of the future. That's from 9 to 10. At 10 p.m., Nova, explore how life evolved in North America, including the arrival of humans. That's us again, right? And then I'm Important Company from 11 to 12. I'm just having some fun here because you got to smile a little bit. News Hour at 7, Changing Planet at 8, A Brief History of the Future at 9, Nova at 10, I'm Important Company at 11. Okay? So, here we go. See, somebody sent me a text message that just made me feel good. Right? I said, I want to make sure I said this correctly. Right? It said, morning, Mr. James. They need to make your show 2 hours long. Maybe it is 2 hours long. You know what I'm saying? But the governor only had 1 hour and 40 today. You check? Now, if you said 3 hours, that's a whole different bag, right? But we want to do that. The morning edition is very, very valuable and near and dear to the NPR listeners. And, we're taking a chunk out of that as well. So check this out, right? The governor was giving props to Joe Biden. You know what I'm saying? And it comes on the heels. Good morning, Alice Kroll. Doing some nice things this morning, man. Waste management got some nice murals. Keep it clean. Okay. Beauty is free. Wow. They got some nice murals, man. I like to call it graffiti. This is clean graffiti. Got some nice graffiti. So waste management doing their thing. Keep up the good work there in that regard. Right? You're going to see keep it clean all over the place. Right? Hold on. Let me see this one here. It said beauty is free. Hold on there. Your home. Let's keep it clean. And this is at Pine Peace Bin site over there in St. Thomas. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Right? So they paint the walls there and keep it clean, and they're promoting cleanliness here for the government and the Virgin Islands, which is a good thing. I like that. Yesterday, right, there was a primary. I'm not doing Henry Lake in this one here. In Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a true swing state, right? That's one of the 3 states that Donald Trump won in 2016 when he was candidate Trump, that they didn't expect him to win, along with Wisconsin and Michigan. And in 2020, Biden won back those 3 along with Georgia and Arizona. So they're looking at those 5 states, in addition to Nevada and North Carolina. Those are the 7 bellwether swing states that they're going to be looking at. Pennsylvania in particular, because that's the most populated of the swing states. Yesterday they had their primary, right? Here are the results so far, right, as of 8 a.m. this morning. On the Democratic side, so we know that it's going to be Biden versus Trump. So what they look at is 2 things, right? Are 2 things, gotta speak good English. Turnout on either side, that's number 1, that's the volume. And what percentage of the volume in each primary, the Democratic primary or the Republican primary, is Trump and Biden getting, right? Or got, because it happened yesterday. On the Republican side, there were 942,314 voters. And that number is probably up now because they keep counting votes. Donald Trump got 786,485, which is 83.5%. Nikki Haley, who out of the race, but people got right to protest vote within the party, and even the general election, got 155,829 votes, 16.5%. And that makes up the 100,000. So their total turnout on the Republican side was 942. On the Democrat side, the total turnout was 988,320, right? Which is 46,006 more people turned out on the Democratic side. Joe Biden got 920,274 votes, 93.1%, compared to Trump getting 83.5% on the Republican side. And Dean Phillips, who done bow out already, he got 6.9% at 68,046 votes. So Joe Biden got 133,000 more primary votes yesterday and got a higher percentage. So as it relates to just a superficial, right, on the surface, good night. Both had a good night. Biden had a great night. 93 out of every 100 people that vote in the Democratic primary in this swing state, that's an enthusiasm variable to look at, went for Biden. 83 or 84 out of every 100 Republicans that vote. And these are closed primaries, though. These ain't open primaries. So you have to be registered to vote in that particular, registered as a party member to vote in that primary. Additionally, when they look at the 4 suburban Philly counties, because, you know, they said the suburbs going to determine, right? The independents and the suburbs going to determine who's going to win this election. In Bucks County, Trump get 81%, Biden get 95%. In Montgomery County, Trump got 75%, Biden get 96%. In Chester, Trump got 76%, Biden get 97%. And in Delaware County, right, Trump got 76% and Biden got 96%. Now, keep in mind, this is a home state for Biden because he born in Scranton, even though, you know, he spends his time in he's a resident of Delaware. So he's a homeboy there. But they got to be feeling good. And I believe this is more about infrastructure than anything else. And that money that the Democratic side raising allows them to, establish field offices, do more pounding at the pavement, touching the flesh, and the money variable look like a kicking in, man, because, you know, in Montgomery County, Trump gets 75%, Biden gets 96%. That's a full 20%, man. That's a high number. You check? So it's going to be interesting, and we don't see the polls, you know, sliding in one direction, so we'll see how it pans out. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Pine Peace is St. John, right? Oh, the Pine Peace bin site. That's in St. John? Let me know. One of my senators let me know what's going on, right? And you know something? I'm gonna bring on the senators to get their take on this. I owe it to them, right? 'Cause it's only right. So, you know, I can probably reach out to the Senate President. I don't know if they got energy committee, but in fairness to them, if I get a governor on, I got to bring on the senators. I have to do it. That's just the rules, right? So we into 100% fairness, right? So we're going to get a legislative side. It could be a number of them, and we're going to work that out. So maybe sometime on Friday, we'll get them on. Maybe if not tomorrow. Tomorrow we got nowhere to flourish. Maybe in hour number 2 tomorrow as well, and Friday. Okay, you got 15 senators and 1 governor. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed the live stream. Got me rocking my fedora on a rainy Wednesday. Be good and be safe. Talk to you tomorrow. Norris to flourish tomorrow, okay? Talk to you then. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.